Hey, what's up? Andy here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a tech house banger using Captain Plugin's Epic, just like this. Let's start by looking at the drums. Since it's Tech House and Captain Beat Epic comes with a Tech House kit, it was a no-brainer to use that. However, if you have your own Tech House samples, you can load those into Captain Beat instead. I've made a simple drum pattern, which is all that is needed. It has a 4/4 kick, a clap, a snare layered together on the second and fourth beat, the offbeat open hat, which is usually a 909 sample for Tech House, and a closed hat, which is really low in the mix. Let's listen to the difference a little bit of tuning on the open hat and clap makes to the groove. I'll then check the pitch of the drums in Mixed In Key Live to decide on the key of the track. In this case it's E minor. If you already have a vocal sample to use in your track, you should tune the drums to fit that, as the key you'll be working in is already determined by the vocal. Changing the pitch of a vocal can work too, but I find that it can often ruin a vocal, so changing the pitch of the drums is usually a better direction. Since the example track is 16 bars long and forms the meat of the track, I'll do an arrangement right inside Captain Beat Epic. Once I'm ready to flesh out the full track, I'll export the MIDI to my DAW. Okay, let's look at the bass line. This is one of the most important elements in Tech House. Get it right, you'll have a powerful and energetic track which will rock dance floors. If it's not right though, your track will sound lifeless and flat. I have 3 bass lines all playing the same rhythm. I added 1/4 notes and made a slight pitch change on the last 16th to add some movement. When I add sidechain ducking to this rhythm, it creates a nice pumping bass sound and drives the track along really nicely. One Captain Deep instance takes care of the sub-frequencies, which are 30 to 40 Hz up to 80 Hz. Anything higher than this is considered bass range, and lower than 30 Hz is not really audible to most of us, and it uses up valuable energy. I chose the sub-bass preset for obvious reasons. If I play it alone, you might not even hear it, but a quick look on the EQ on the channel can shed some light on what it's doing. Peaking around 45 Hz, so it's in the right sonic space. I'll now filter this bassline with a low-pass EQ to remove any unwanted mid-frequencies. Then copy Captain Deep Epic and choose a different bassline sound for the mid-bassline. I'll set the EQ to remove any sub-bass that it might contain or overly high frequencies. The goal here is to have 3 bass lines. One takes care of the sub, one takes care of the mid frequencies, and the other takes care of the higher frequencies. This creates a more rich timbre, and it fills up the frequency range, which prevents the track from having holes in the mix. It also means that for those who like to listen to music on their phones or similar devices, you'll still be able to hear a bass line even if the device cannot replicate the sub or bass range frequencies. Alright, let's look at the vocal and how we can build a 16 bar loop with a drop. The vocal sample I found for this example is 125 BPM and it's in E minor, which is perfect. It's got the right vibe for Tech House, but it's quite short, so I need to implement it in a way that will keep the listener interested over 16 bars. Just making it loop continuously would get boring really quickly. I'll introduce it after 4 bars and then chop it up for a variation that filters after 8 bars. Finally, I'll play it back to back over the 4 final bars. As you can see, I chopped the end of the vocal off and added a simple tape delay. This further helps to make the vocal more interesting and it fills out the arrangement. As you can hear, I added a riser sample to the last 4 bars. I removed the kick drum and added a snare roll, so this part acts as the drop. The snare roll is easy to make. I already have a snare as part of the drums, as we know. So I can start the snare roll by using 8th notes, followed by 16th notes, and then 32 right before the drop. I've dialed into the end of each bar and added some extra and faster played hits to give a drum roll effect. This vocal arrangement is an important part of the puzzle. I can now see the gaps, which I can fill in with weird and wonderful synth lines. To do this, I want to find sounds which have some LFO type effects, portamento, or have interesting movement when the notes are sustained. It's worth looking for sounds akin to drum and bass because they often have these attributes. Using Captain Blay, I can combine notes in different octaves to create cool motifs for each sound. I'll arrange these in a way that they fit between the vocal parts, rather than at the same time, and try to mix them in a way they flow into each other, almost like one sound, but modulating as it progresses. For these two, I ensured the same note overlapped, then created a crossfade between the 2 sounds and automated the panning so the sound starts right and then it finishes over on the left, so it moves from one side to the other. Once these parts are added to the arrangement, I'll add another couple of small synth motifs using sound presets which are more synonymous with house and techno to fill in the remaining sections. Again, the idea is to keep it simple, so no long melodies needed, just micro motifs with a couple of notes that fit the groove of the track. Now that we have a solid 16-bar loop, the next thing would be to flesh it out into something a bit longer, perhaps adding a breakdown, with some chords to add a more musical element, such as a main draw, and of course a DJ-friendly intro and outro. This really depends on your goal and taste, but for now we'll leave it like this. I hope this helps you to make your own tech house beat using Captain Plugins Epic. If you found the video helpful, please hit like and subscribe to our channel for future Captain Plugins Epic content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.